This is things we used in the bread business. And here is a cupcake. It's a yo-yo that we used to use to give out to folks at store openings and what have you. This is a picture right here. This is the first picture. That's me right there.
Oh my.
That's the first picture I ever had made after I got in the bread business. That was in 1957. I went to work for the bread company in 1956 of August.
And that's in Jackson?
That's in Jackson, Tennessee. But this is a picture of me in early 1956 when I was doing some part-time work in a grocery store prior to going into the bread business. Then this is when I got my National Achievement Award for the entire company. This is my retirement party. I really had a real nice retirement party as I left the company. It was the 27th day of February of 1999 was my last day in the bread business. I guess the main thing is that you've got to like what you're doing. You've got to enjoy getting up and going to work. You've got to be motivated. You've got to have the cooperation from your family and your spouse and your family to be behind you so they'll be happy wherever you go. You've got to give it 110% every day. As long as you do those things. I know a guy, I had a coach one time that told me that if you work hard and do things right, good things will happen to you. And I remembered that all my career through the bread business. I enjoy every bit of it.
Describe your career for us.
I started with Wonder Bread and Hostess Cake when I was 20-year-old. I made 9 major moves across the country. I retired in 1999. As sales manager, I had 11 branch operations. They were distribution centers where the bread would be transported from the bakery out to these centers, and then from there to the grocery stores. Had 11 of those, and it was in portions of 6 states. And when I started, I was 20, and I grew up on a dairy farm, and grew up farming, and had some part-time work at a grocery store where I could go get me some money a little something where I could have some money to run around with, or go out on a date or something. And I did that for a long period of time, and I really, my mother really wanted me to go to college, and I was burnt out. I didn't want to go, but I said, well, I've got to do something. I've got to land something to where I'll have a success and have a good career in it. And I decided that the bread business was a good paying job. It was hard work, but I managed to get in with Wonder Bread Company. They were a national company all over the United States. They were formed in 1928 through several small independent bakeries come together, and they formed a company, and they called it Continental Baking Company. And that way it has grown over the years, and it was so primitive when it first started that the little train up here on the shelf is a replica of how the bread used to come in, say that, well, particularly places like Jackson. You had a little train that ran from Memphis to up somewhere around Dixon or Nashville. It'd go up in early morning, and then it'd go back at night. Well, the bread would come into Jackson on this train, I think they only had about 3 routes down there in the early days. And they go down to the depot there on Royal Street, pick their bread up, and go out and make the routes. And they got bread about 3 days a week. And then it moved on from there to started putting branches in and route trucks, which made it a lot more easy and more feasible to get around and get things going. After I left the bread company, I took a run at politics and was on the county government for about 10 and a half years. Had some things I'm real proud of on that. We remodeled the courthouse, which was in bad shape. It had no elevator. It was leaking upstairs. They'd already moved out of the upstairs where they filmed the old Walking Tall movie. It was already out of there. But we got it all remodeled and put central heat and air in the courthouse, put an elevator in. Then we built the tech school. Then we built the Criminal Justice Center, which I'm real proud of. I served on that committee all the way through that project. We started the recycling program, which has saved this county a lot of money. As you know, that all the waste and everything that this county has, we have to truck that up in Decatur County, and we pay somewhere around, I don't know, it used to be about $27 or $28 a ton to carry it up there and dump it and dispose of it. Well, now, when people take stuff out to the landfill, the solid waste program, they pull all the cardboard out of it. People's been real good about cooperating. They take their cans and put them in the recycling, and their plastic in another recycling. All their newspapers and paper they want to throw away, they put that somewhere else. So that's been a good plus for us. They saved us money 2 ways. We don't have to pay for it being disposed of. Then we get some money out of the recycling. And it'd be worth your time to go out there and look at that building that we put in and how the recycling program works if you hadn't already seen it. Well, I didn't get to do much community service in the early years. I was trying to raise a family and I worked long hours. But since I retired, I served on the Chester County Bank Board of Directors. And I work as a staff member at Shafford Funeral Directors, and I work at the Casey Chapel part-time. I serve on the serve on the board and past president of the Chester County Lions Club, which we got a lot of things accomplished during those periods. Serve on the area agency on aging and disability. And I'm chairman of the Chester County Health Education Facility Board. And I'm on the board and past chairman of Quinco Mental Health, which it does a lot of good. And I'm really glad that I was in that position, because we almost lost Quinco. They was trying to, another company come in and was trying to merge with Centerstone up in Middle Tennessee. And I could not see that happen because the county put so much, county donated the land out there to put that building on, that Clinico. County's put a lot of money into the Quinco program over the years. The 10 years that I was on the board, we put about $100,000 in it. Well, I couldn't be a part of giving it away. So I stood firm, and as of today, there's no more merging. We got a new CEO, and I was helped to get the CEO we have today. The company's really grown. We're seeing more people than we've ever seen. And you might ask, why are we doing that? Well, they're trying to get, the state's getting away from mental institution like we used to know when we was growing up many years ago. The buildings are run down, and they're getting to where that cannot be used much longer, and they're phasing them out, and they're sending people out to drop-in shelters into homes out in the county and in the area. And people like Quinco and some of the other healthcare organizations is helping take care of that need. And I know up at West Tennessee Healthcare, there's one up there, and all of them do a good job, and it's well needed. I serve on the Fred Harvin Sports Advisory Council. I figured that you got to find something in the university to be a part of and help in. I can't help in all of them. So we found a place that my wife and I both are happy with. And we serve on that board, and we work diligently to get stuff together and to help with a silent auction. We've got some stuff that we have been collecting for the past year. We'll get that to them this week so they can get that incorporated for the April 15th fundraiser with Eddie George. I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be fun.
Yep. The bread business has gone from a driving sales force, which the company used to direct their growth on the salesman. I showed you some pictures earlier where everybody had ties on. Well, that was Wonder Bread and Hostess Cake to the consumer. That's all they ever saw. They went out in the store. Well, this salesman would be calling on a grocery store, an individual that owned this store, or an individual that was manager of a store. He would call on those, and he would be able to go in there and get things he wanted. But that's changed. The company now is centering in on going straight to the consumer. People like you and me, Brad, they do that by pricing, coupons, and new products. And that's become necessary because of the big box stores that's coming in. There's so many of those that's prevalent over the country that you can't do much improvement as far as the route level is concerned at that store. And it's been very necessary to change their way of operating because the grocery concept has changed than what it was when I was growing up. But you got to understand that the same fundamentals still prevail in the bread business. You got to have freshness, quality, and service. If you don't have that, you're just out of business.
So those things you were talking about, the big box stores, those are two things that have really impacted your professional life.
Two things that has really impacted the professional life, especially in a lot of people, not only the bread company. It's the drink people, the grocery people. The two words sums it up. That's Sam's and Walmart. You can't do anything in those stores unless it's on a schematic. A schematic is something that comes down from the headquarters. The managers of these stores, they're powerful people, but they can't go in there and change that store's concept. Every store, whatever size it is, from a 90,000 square foot store to 140, 168, 192,000 square foot Walmart or a Sam's, they have a schematic the way that store is set, and it cannot be deviated from. So therefore, the salesman on the day-to-day operation, the best thing he can do is keep it fresh and keep good quality product and give him good service. And now, what these companies are doing now, if you ever go to Bentleyville, you can go down Vendor Row, I guess you could call it that, and you see offices down there with Coca-Cola on them, Wonder Bread, Kraft, different companies. They have people up there, they have an office up there. that they go over there and meet with the Walmart people every day. We got people up there. They go over there and meet with them. And that's how it filters down from Bentleyville down to the store level. Probably if we didn't have anybody up there, we'd never have any breaks, or we'd never get anything out of it. If it tells me that I can have an end cap, a certain number, so I got it for so many days, when my day starts, I've got to go in there and have that product ready and put it on the shelf. And when my time's up, then somebody else takes it. But the main thing is, if you don't have good rapport with them and stand in there good with them. And I was lucky enough that all the Walmarts that I had in my area, I was close enough to them that I set all the stores for them, all the bakery sections. When it come time to set the stores up, that I was the leader when we set the bakery section up. Be other companies there, but I was doing this private label, so they give me the schematic, and I would use that schematic to set the store up. Sometimes you'd have a little room to play with, but most of the time you got to stay right to it. They'd come check it when you get through, and if it isn't, well, you know, it'd cause you some problems.
What about your career? Do you have any funny stories that you can remember?
I guess one of the funny stories that I can think of would be, and I still have this, going somewhere, and many times I've had to go somewhere that I'd never been before, to a town I'd never been to, I'd heard about it, and go there and run a bread route for some reason or other. Who knows what the reason would be, sick or not there, not enough people to cover the routes. And I can remember or dream about going somewhere to run a route. All of us show up down at the terminal that morning with a truckload of bread, so much in there that you can't find a place to sit down. You run your route, you spend the whole day long hunting the first stop. All of a sudden it starts getting late in the evening, it's almost dark. And you're driving around hunting that first stop and been doing it all day. And then you happen to go back to the bakery. And so, well, here's the bakery. I look in the door's open, the big garage door. It's in the summertime, the door's open. All the trucks are done in except me. There's one hole, there's one slot in that's where I park. All the trucks are already in, and they're empty. There's nothing in them. And I look in my truck and I still got a load of bread. You think that won't be a nightmare to you?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one other little deal that I had. I was a representative for our company, all the Piggly Wiggly stores.
Mm-hmm.
And the headquarters for Piggly Wiggly is down in Bessemer, Alabama. And they'd put on a big outing, a big golf outing every year for all their Piggly Wiggly guys. And the vendors is the ones that paid for it, the bread companies, the drink people, who knows what all. And I was going down there, and I was very weak in that part of the country. This golf outing was over, and they was giving away all the door prizes, and probably 200 or 300 people there at least, because we had flights in the morning, flights in the afternoon. We got all finished, about ready to go. He said, we're all finished except I got 2 prizes left. And he said, one of these prizes is going to a private-owned Piggly Wiggly owner. That's one guy that's got one store. Him and his wife's got this Piggly Wiggly store, and that's all they've got. And the other one's going to a bread company. I said, well, I'm not out of this yet. Called the grocer went up there, and he and his wife went up there, and he got a nice golf bag, just like this one sitting over here in the corner. And they called the bread company out, and they called me up there. Well, I was walking tall that day when I went up there in front of all these other people, all these other bread companies. And that was Flowers' back door down there down in Alabama. Well, they're real strong down through there. I went up there and took that golf bag away from those guys. It made me feel good anyway. Oh, I guess that when I was growing up, my family supported me. and some of the other things that came along. You gotta like what you're doing, and you gotta surround yourself with good people, and see what you can do with how things are going in the sales end of it. And it's been a long career, but I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I guess that's about covers some of those things.
What about as a community leader? What influenced you to give back?
I didn't get to do much of that when I was growing up, and what I want to do now is to give back to the community. And what the community has been so nice and so helpful to me over the years, and I want to try to keep doing that and get some of those things done.
What are some of the changes you've experienced in our community?
Well, the barbecue festival has been a big change. It's the coming together of family and friends to spend a weekend together and enjoy those things. The Freed-Hardeman campus has really grown. I can remember when you go down Main Street, the only thing on Main Street that you could see of Freed-Hardeman was Old Main, right there on the center of the campus. There where the cafeteria is, and all the way around up to Hamlet Street and down Hamlet Street was all residential. There was houses on both sides of the road, just thick as they could be. Down Hamlet Street, because I lived on Hamlet Street. In fact, the last house that they tore down on Hamlet Street is where I lived, that brick house. In the sports side of Chester County, it's been a big growth, not only in high school but in the college. And you can go to any kind of a sports activity you want to go to here and be thoroughly entertained and be home in 5 to 10 minutes. You can see as good at ball games at Freed-Hardeman the year round. Soccer, basketball, whatever you want to do, tennis, women's softball, baseball, volleyball. You got any kind of entertainment. And we got the new soccer program going over here. And when I was growing up, we didn't have the baseball fields. So it's been tremendous.
That's great.
And the growth and the movement of the Carl Perkins Center, it's really grown rapidly. And the Chamber of Commerce has the Citizen of the Year Award, which recognizes so many deserving people over the years that thoroughly needs to be recognized. And some of the other activities would be getting to do a lot of the things that you kind of want to do and to get done. The Walking Tall Trail and the Walking Tall movie was a great improvement. It's a legacy that goes back kind of to the primitive days when outlawism was prevailed to a certain degree, and it just brings back those memories. And I'll be glad to see the Walking Tall Trail to be completed. And a lot of those things are still prevailing of people coming together and being able to help each other and get things done.
Mm-hmm. What one event can you remember that happened that may have caused our community to be as successful as it is?
Well, we had a tornado here in 1952. It was very destructive. I mean, it left this town and this county in shambles. Houses were destroyed. Lives were lost. Business were destroyed. And it was destruction everywhere, because my family was right in the middle of it. We was in the heart of it. We lived over here on the next street over on 6th Street. We were the first house going down 6th Street. We were in the house when that thing hit. My dad covered us up with a mattress, and there was a lake all back down 7th Street here. You could, when you go down 7th Street, you can see that where there's a low area on the left over there, down there behind Miss Hogan's, all down through there was a big lake. And right where we are today was a pasture. And all I could remember was when that tornado had picked that house up, and I was laying on the floor, and I could feel those planks just peeling off under me. All I could think about was being dropped in the lake. But fortunately, we didn't hit the lake. We went up here across North Street and was scattered all through that area up in there about where Dr. Carrington's house is, and then back down this way, across North Street up to 6th. And that was, I saw the coming together of family and friends that really helped each other out. And you know, you go out and everybody you could see up and down the road, if it was your family, if it was your friends, it's just like one big family. And those things still prevail today. You see all the time where somebody has had some kind of a problem, and you have benefits for them. You have fundraisers to help those folks try to get back on their feet and get back where they were. That's one thing I like about this part of the country.
Mm-hmm. What do you yet want to accomplish in our community?
Well, I'd like to see more employment in Chester County. If you look at the census in the past 10 years, this past census that we just finished, it was close to 10%. Well, I remember very plainly, vividly, that when we had the one before this, Chester County had a 22% growth in population. Well, we're looking in the past 10 years of about 30%, maybe 32% growth in population. And there's no more employment here than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You had some factories, but they're gone, they've shut in. Premier is, they've grown. And then we got the car assembly plant that's going in right now. That's going to help. But this county continues to grow in population. You can tell that by how they've had to build the schools. They're fixing to do a big enlargement at the junior high. A big expansion going on out there. And we need to see if we can get more employment here to keep people from having to commute out of town. I'd like to see that happen.
Are there any funny stories you'd like to tell about the community?
When I first got in the Lions Club, my brother-in-law, Lion Houston, he and I would spend time together every day. He was like a brother to me. I mean, I really loved him, and I think he loved me too. We'd work together, and regardless of what I wanted to do, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. But we spent a lot of time out to the fairgrounds getting ready for the horse show. We were out there one time, and just the two of us. We had his pickup and trailer, and we've been mowing and putting some poison out around the fence row. Came lunchtime, and we were going to get some lunch. And so we jumped in the truck. He was driving. And as big as that area, you probably park 1,000 cars over there. And the only thing was in that whole land was his pickup, and we was in it, and he had his trailer. He run up on that trailer out of all that ground over there. We got hung up, got the truck hung up on the trailer, and we had to call a wrecker to come over and get the truck off the trailer. We sat back and laughed at that forever. We still laughed about it. And record people come over there and said, Mr. Houston, this trailer ain't big enough for you to put that truck on it. He thought he was trying to put his truck on the trailer. Never would work.
If you could leave one message to the future generation, what would it be?
Well, I would have to say that get you a good education. and to land you a job somewhere. Stay with it, work hard, be honest, love God.
I'm sorry.
Love God.
Can we start that one over again?
Yeah, he can just start. You can just start with the love God part.
I'm
Start
gonna have to
with
cough for a minute.
love God.
Wait a minute.
Love God and love your family and love your country.
As you look back, what do you wish you could have accomplished that maybe you didn't get around to?
I wish I went to Fred Hardeman University, because there's a lot of things that I can't do that I could have if I'd have went up there. I see that pretty regular. I'd encourage everybody to do that, because it might be something you'd want to do in life other than sell a loaf of bread or teach a body of children. It might be something you want to do. I know there's some things I'd like to do that I can't do. And I think if I went through Fred, I'd have been able to do that.
Describe your philosophy on life.
Well, I think you got to work hard at whatever you do. You got to like what you're doing, and you got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to be willing to do things, keep people motivated, and set good examples for others to follow.
What about spiritually and with your family?
You have to have your family support, and to love God and to be a Christian. Helps you more than anything.
How do you want to be remembered?
I'd like to be remembered as a guy that was always willing to help somebody that was in need, and kind of cheer them up and lift them up when they were down, and give positive motivation. That's what helped me through the years, that when I was coming along, and I still use those characteristics today.
Any funny stories you want to leave with?
My wife told a funny story on me when she was manager of the bank up Jackson. She was working at branch manager at Fidelity Federal right there on Main Street. And this was one Halloween. And you know how people decorate their stores up for Halloween themes and what have you. And they was going to had called me up there that afternoon. I would have to be in town, and she called me up there and said they was going to have a little get together. So I went into the bank, and the bank was done closed. They let me in, carried me through another door, and I went up through the lobby to where our office was. And I went out there, there was no one up there in the lobby or in the offices, they're all empty. And I saw this display over in the corner, and it caught my eye because it was a man sitting over there, resembled a man. He had my shirt on. And he had my blue jeans on, my straw hat. And I said, what kind of deal is this? And I walked on over there, and it had a name tag on that said Bobby. And they had me sitting there on a bale of hay. Look, I had some pictures I was going to show you, but I couldn't find them. They had my name on it. It said had Bobby sitting there, and when I looked around, they was all sticking their heads through the back door laughing at me. They was pulling a prank on me.
Why was Henderson so appealing as a place to live? You've been a lot of places all over the country.
Well, I grew up here, went to school here, and when I decided what I was going to do, what kind of business I was going to get into, I left here. And when I came back to take this last job I had with the company, I was living in Chattanooga. And they wanted me to come back here, which I was glad to do that. I was very happy to get that move. And I said, you can live anywhere you want to. I had no business in the Memphis area. All of my business was what we call agency, through western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama, and over to Missouri and Arkansas. That's where I did all my work. So we moved back here to Henderson. And That was in 1983 when I moved back. And we spent the rest of our career here. And I'd go to Memphis once a week for meetings. And the rest of the time, well, I'd be out on the road. Most of the time I'd be gone most of the week because the territory was so big that I couldn't get up and drive from here to Newport, Mississippi, and then get anything done and turn around and come back home. Or way over in southern Arkansas. So I might be over there and make all those errands while I was in Arkansas. Might be gone all week. But I always enjoyed coming back to Henderson. I'd come in town and see those lights of Henderson. I felt like I was at home, and I was. It's been a good run all through the years. I've enjoyed it. I don't think I wouldn't change my career. I'd do the same thing. But I would have went to free, I believe. I see some things happening, people's doing that I can't do because I didn't go up there. I didn't get the knowledge of the things that they have. But I've enjoyed being back here, and my son has, he's got me involved with his business up there. This is a little deal I got right here when I was chairman of the Development Council for Freed-Hardeman. They presented this little thing to me after my service time was up, kind of like that.
Well, thank you very much. That's been a wealth of information. I think we've got.
Tell you that I got the Civitan Citizen of the Year award.
No, you didn't.
I got that one. It's up there. All the plaques I've got on the wall and some things that I have won personally. And people that worked for me and were my employees, they've got plaques too that I gave them. I have myself surrounded with good people that I believe in keeping them motivated.
Sure.
And everybody wants to be recognized. Everybody wants to be told that they've done a good job. And I tried to do that. If I had anything I needed to be negative about, I'd put my arm around him and walk off away from anybody else. And I'd tell him, I said, well, I like what you've done here, but next time I want you to think about this. And when I would ride with people on their routes, I rode every route I had. I had 84 routes. Rode every one of them at least once or more. I spent a day with that guy. I said, I'm going to spend a day with you. You do whatever you do just like you normally do. Forget about me being with you. And I said, we'll be talking about things all day. And you take the things that we talk about that will help you, that you can use. Things that you don't think will help you, forget it. That's the way I motivated them.